number of topics from the MLB and NFL. As always, you can follow along with our debates on sided.co and be sure to take a side. For our first debate, I'm here with Max McElroy, Caroline McRae, Riley Ward, and we're debating whether or not the Buffalo Bills are legitimate playoff contenders. On Sunday, the Bills took down the Cincinnati Bengals to improve to 3-0 for the first time since 2011. Max, what are your thoughts? Are the Bills legitimate playoff contenders?
The Bills are absolutely playoff contenders. And I'll tell you exactly what it is. In the NFL, you succeed because of coaching. Think about it. Bill Belichick and the Patriots, Andy Reid and the Chiefs. All successful teams are due to great coaching, and the Bills have excellent coaching staff, all led to Sean McDermott, who in the first year with the Bills led them to the playoffs 2 years ago. And in his first year in Buffalo, they went 9-7. Not great, but then they got their quarterback, Josh Allen, quarterback of the future.
Quarterback of the future.
I'll admit, he has a lot of work that needs to be done.
Okay.
However, I think the Bills rely more on defense, led by Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. They've had excellent seasons so far, and the Bills' defense has really stepped up. And their offensive coordinator has called plays where Josh Allen can succeed. And he looks like a franchise quarterback, if you ask me.
No, I understand when you say that coaching wins you games. I mean, you also have to remember that the Patriots, Bill Belichick, they also have Tom Brady. Andy Reid, he also has Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. And then Josh Allen. I mean, I hate to say it, there's a big difference between the three. And I look at the Bills, and the Bills, they're 3-0. Okay, that's a great start. A few teams are 3-0. You got the Steelers are 0-3. I think the Steelers are a great team. But the Bills, they've beat the Jets by 1. They beat the Giants by 14, and then they beat the Bengals last week, 21-17. So I don't know how I feel about it going forward. I think that their 3 wins are very unimpressive. And if they continue down this way, sure, they know how to win a football game, but I don't think they know how to win a big football game like they have next weekend versus the Patriots.
Now, I will stop you right there. When you say the Jets, remember the Jets were playoff. People were saying they were playoff contenders at the beginning of the season.
I don't know who was saying that.
When they were healthy.
I don't know.
And the first game of the season, they had Sam Darnold, they had Quinnen Williams. You know, they had everything going for them at the beginning of the season, and the Bills beat them. They came back and they won. And I think the real test this week will be against the Patriots. I think it'll be a close game. I don't necessarily know if the Bills will win it.
You think it's going to be a close game?
I do.
You know how many points the Patriots have given out this year?
They haven't given up a lot.
Not a lot.
But I don't think they need to necessarily do that, because I think the Bills' defense will be able to hold them, and it could be 21-24, something like that. I think it'll be a close game. And the Bills don't have to win the division to make the playoffs. The AFC in itself, I think, is very weak this year. You have the Patriots and the Chiefs are the best 2 teams in the NFL. I don't think there's a debate about that. But who's going to take those next wild card spots? I think the Bills will be right there by the end of the season.
I think the Bills are going to have a good year. They were 6-10 last year. I think they could go 10-6 this year. They're going to be improved, but I still don't know if they're going to get that wild card spot. But
yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate part for the Bills. I mean, even if they have a good season, they're still stuck in the AFC East. So it's the Patriots' division to lose at this point. You could pretty much write them in as the 1 seed, in my opinion. But they don't really have a chance going forward in any other place than the wild card spot. I think that changes. But how do you think they're going to do this weekend? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, I think the Patriots are gonna.
You think it'll be a smackdown?
I think so.
I think the Bills will be able to shock some people. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I do believe that people are going to start believing in the Bills a little bit more. They've had just a lot of bad luck, bad years, a ton of bad seasons, but that fan base is excited and they're ready to have a really great season.
But then they had the Titans the week after that, which I think is going to be another hard game for them.
Yeah, I think the Titans kind of lost their stride. You know, they beat the Browns when they were overrated, but since then they've gone 0-2. They lost to a rookie quarterback in the Jags. I think the Bills will I think they'll be set for, I think they could start the season 4-1, which I don't know when the last time that happened for the Bills was, but.
I mean, the Bills Mafia can only break so many tables, but I don't think it's going to help them in any way. I mean, I don't know. That's how I take it. I think that going forward, it's going to be exciting to watch them improve, but this year is definitely not going to be their year. I wouldn't be surprised if they were legitimate playoff contenders within the next 3 years even, but right now it's still the Patriots' league to lose.
See, but that's, again, where I think that this is the year they have the opportunity, because in their division, you have the Jets who, let's face it, their season's over. They lost their QB. They've got just a ton of injuries. And then they have the Dolphins, worst team in football, in their division. along with the Patriots. So I think that this is their year where they can get 4, maybe even 5, squeak out a win against the Patriots, division wins, which is just going to boost them and set them up really well.
I
for
do think
a
they
playoff
can
win.
probably beat the Dolphins twice.
I think so too. I think they'll be able to beat the Jets again.
And the Jets.
And then, prediction, they'll beat the Patriots at home
No.
in Buffalo.
In
I think they
Buffalo.
will, and
They're
I
gonna lose
think
to the Cowboys.
I think the Bills will be set up for really a good playoff run. Squeak in a wild card.
Okay, we'll see.
Well, I like the sound of that. All right, well, we're going to take a short break quickly. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back with more.
Have a nice day. You too. Have a great day. Thanks. You too.
Make someone's day. Pay it forward.
Okay, so the next topic we have is what backup quarterback do we think is going to have the most success this season? So there's a lot to choose from. I think that Jacoby Brissett for the Colts is going to have the most success. It's his 4th year in the league. He's 26 years old. He got drafted by the Patriots, so he had time to learn from Tom Brady, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Then he played in 2017 when Luck went out. He played 16 games. Had over 3,000 passing yards, 13 touchdowns. He knows the Colts offense, he knows the plays, and now just 2 weeks before the season starts, he's thrown into starting quarterback position when Andrew Luck retires. But the Colts are 2-1 right now. Their only loss was from the Chargers in overtime. They've beaten the Falcons and the Titans. He's had over 600 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, over 70% completion rate. I think he's experienced and he's going to have the most success out of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think Jacoby Brissett is off to a great start with the Colts. However, Teddy Bridgewater, guys, you're talking about a man who's already been in the playoffs, played in the playoffs, and he's
Did I mention that Brissett has a Super Bowl?
As a backup. Teddy Bridgewater, been to the playoffs. He's been with coaching staff and players who have been to the playoffs and made deep runs in the playoffs. I think he's just best set up for success based off of the team around him. I don't necessarily think that Teddy Bridgewater needs to throw for 400 yards a game to win, especially when you have people like Alvin Kamara. You have just incredible assets on your team. And even the Saints' defense, I think, is great. I just think if you're basing it off of record and how deep they can go in the postseason, I think Teddy Bridgewater is suited to go take the team a long way. As you saw yesterday, I mean, he threw for like 165 yards, and they had a dominant victory. It doesn't need to be anything incredible that he needs to do for them to be able to get the win just because their team is that good. And they have a Hall of Fame coach, Sean Payton, along with them. I think they'll just be able to ride into the playoffs.
Yeah, see, I have to go with Daniel Jones because I think it kind of depends on your definition of success there, where it's like you said, I mean, Bridgewater didn't necessarily have a very good game. His team just did well. But with Jones, I mean, he's not necessarily even a backup quarterback. From the beginning of the year, everyone was deciding between him and Eli. They picked Eli for 2 games, and then they realized, yeah, Eli's not the route we want to take. I mean, Jones, he put up 350 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he couldn't have had a better start. I read something that he has the 2nd largest comeback by a rookie quarterback in their first starting game. So he proved that he kind of has a grit to come back in a game. And then also when we're talking about just overall success with quarterbacks, I mean, he's in a system where he's not going to win. This is a rebuilding year for the Giants. He's not going to come out of this with a great record. I don't think he's going to make the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he looks the part and he shows that the Giants actually could be very good later on, especially considering that Saquon is still going to be there despite being hurt this week. But I think that Daniel Jones showed the most promise of any quarterback this week.
He had a good game. He might have had the best game out of these 3 quarterbacks, but all year, I don't think he's going to be the most successful.
Yeah.
I believe that this Daniel Jones game was actually a fluke.
I mean, 2
thinking
rushing
about-
touchdowns is a little iffy.
Well, right,
but
but the Buccaneers had no film on him. You know, like
Yeah.
last year when Baker Mayfield went in against the Jets in that game,
Yeah.
he played great, but that's because the Jets didn't have any film on him. And I think it's the exact same situation here where no one has film on him, and we'll see if they can start to figure it out, especially he loses a huge weapon in Saquon for
Yeah.
who knows how many weeks. I
Yeah.
don't believe necessarily that he would have great success. I think it might have just been a little bit of a fluke, but we'll have to see the rest of the season. However, like I said before, Teddy Bridgewater, he's already taken the Vikings to the playoffs on a very bad Vikings team, and now he's on a Saints team that's much better than that team was, with a better coach, better assets, and a better defense as well, which is honestly defense just wins championships they just dominate. And so I believe also with the Saints division, you had high hopes for the division with the Panthers and the Falcons, and then even people said the Buccaneers, they'll probably be all right, but their division looks really bad too. So
Yeah, it's not a
if
terrible spot to be.
if they can take out 6 wins just from their division, I think the Saints are rolling, and Teddy Bridgewater can be the quarterback. Hopefully, get a starting job someday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Brissett. I was kind of down on the Colts after they lost Luck, which was good for my Chiefs. But after seeing him the past few weeks, I think he deserves his $30 million contract he just got for 2 years, and I think he's going to have the most success.
Yeah. Definitely, with all these quarterbacks, we're in unprecedented territory with all these backup
Yeah.
quarterbacks
Exactly,
playing.
yeah.
And what's the timetable for Breeze coming back? How long will Bridgewater
They
be
said
behind
five.
under
I
center?
think it's- more
I think it's 5 more weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, with that, Bridgewater just has to do his job for 5 weeks. So
Exactly,
that's
yeah.
pretty good, which I think I can see him doing a good job going forward. And as long as they're still in the picture when Breeze is back, which I wouldn't be surprised, then the Saints will be totally fine. When it comes to the Colts, do you think the Colts have the chance to make the playoffs?
Oh, easy.
You think so?
I think so.
As a wild card?
Yeah,
Okay, because like I said, the Giants aren't going to make
I
the
think they're
playoffs.
going to do it, though. I mean, yeah.
Saquon
The
can
Giants,
only
I feel
carry
like,
you
are
so
so
far.
indecisive. Like, if Jones starts doing bad, I could see them throwing Eli back in there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
the thing about the Saints is I feel like if Teddy Bridgewater has a hot hand, I think they would absolutely keep him in. Last year, Drew Brees, he downgraded just significantly throughout the season. Just he's getting old,
I don't think they would.
and I
Bench
would
Brees.
not be surprised if Teddy Bridgewater.
You think they're going to
Wow.
bench Drew Brees?
If,
Wow.
if Teddy Bridgewater has the hot hand and they're winning these games, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't start anyone else.
Okay, that's a really hot take there.
It is.
But, I was thinking, like, you were mentioning earlier about who you were mentored by, and, Brissett had, first, he had
Tom Brady.
Brady, and then you moved to even being mentored by Luck, despite the ages being kind of close. Luck is a great quarterback. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, he was mentored by Eli Manning.
Hey.
He has 2 rings, just as many rings as his brother. But I'd never on the Giants would you look at there and be like, Eli Manning's the star. Like, they won those, like you mentioned earlier, they won those Super Bowls off of their defense. Eli Manning was just kind of along for the ride. But then you got Bridgewater. He was mentored by Breeze. So as far as your kind of knowledge goes, I feel like Daniel Jones is going to kind of have to learn his own route. Not that Eli's not a good mentor, but I don't think he's the best.
I believe that. I think Teddy Bridgewater. You guys are hating on him.
I'm not hating.
I really believe.
I'm not
I
hating
believe
on
that
him.
if he has the hot hand, I don't know why you would take him out, especially if it's working and the team's getting used to him. He's getting the timing down for the next 5-6 weeks. Everyone's gonna be used to him. So by the time Breeze comes back, I don't know if they'll necessarily go that route,
they'll-
which is
we'll
crazy.
see. We'll see.
They're one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I like that take, though. I was a Vikings fan, too. We're 2 Minnesota kids, so you got to support Teddy Bridgewater.
Definitely.
All right, Jacob, what do we have up next?
All right, so for our last debate, we have with the MLB playoffs a little over a week away. Who do you guys think is the most dangerous team heading in?
Well, actually, we're going to take a quick commercial break before we get to that. Thank you.
shop local in the heart of the city, you support the people that make our community thrive. The money you spend here stays here, in this place we call our home. Lawrence, Kansas, where there's good old-fashioned hometown pride. Eat local, drink local, shop local.
TakeASide. My name is Marina Seaver.
And I'm Emma House.
And right now we're going to be talking about the MLB playoff picture. So before we get into our debate, I kind of just want to give a rundown of what the MLB looks like right now. So 4 teams have clinched their division: the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Braves, and most recently the Astros, who actually clinched just last night in their 13-5 win over the Angels. So that means both Central divisions, the NL and AL Central, are up for grabs, as well as both wild card spots, and we see a really, really hot race between both the National League wild card and the American League wild card. So with all of that being said, if the playoffs started today, which team do you think is just the most threatening that all of the other teams just really have to look out for?
So I'm going to go ahead and grab the American League. I'm going to say the Houston Astros. I think they're a pretty solid team. They're 102-54 right now, so I think they've got a good team on the way to the playoffs, I guess. But I'm going to say the Astros. I mean, they did win the World Series recently. Mm-hmm. I think they are wanting to get more World Series. They only have 1 so far. They're going against teams that have, 6 to 11, and I think they're going to really try for it. I am going to say the Oakland A's are going to grab the wild card.
Okay, so you think Astros play the A's and the NL and the ALDS?
Definitely. I think they are going to grab it. And, I mean, you can see in recent records, the A's recently went against the Astros, and the Astros did kind of have a little losing streak there. They did have a little losing streak against the last series against the A's too, but I think they're going to come back and really just grab it from them, and I think they're going to run away with it. And, it's going to be an interesting playoff, definitely. I think we have a lot of really good contenders either way.
So do you think – so you're predicting that the A's will win the AL wild card and then go on to face the Astros. So do you think that that's a really quick series that gets over really, really easily for the Astros, or do you think the A's are going to give them some trouble like they have been earlier in the season?
I definitely think the A's are not going to go down without a fight. I think they are going to take it all the way to the end and fight their butt off, but I think in the end the Astros are going to take it.
All right. Well, the Astros are kind of an obvious choice. I respect it. They're a really, really great team. But I'm going to take kind of a more controversial choice, I guess, and I'm going to actually go with the Brewers, who I know they're without Yelich, their star, but that hasn't really deterred them. They're 17-4 in the month of September, and they have six games left, and I think it goes without saying that they're going to clinch a wild card spot, probably the first. They play the Reds and the Rockies for their next series, which I think both teams are below 500. I think those will be easy series wins for the Brewers. And the Nationals, who they're actually tied with for the National League wildcard spot right now, have a lot more of their work cut out for them. They play the Phillies and the Indians. So I think the Brewers will definitely clinch that wild card spot. I'm guessing that they're going to take the first wild card spot, which means that they're going to go on to play the Dodgers in the NLDS. And I know it's kind of crazy to say that the Brewers are going to beat the Dodgers without Yelich, and when the Dodgers are playing as well as they have been and as well as they do. But the Brewers have been a lot hotter in the month of September than the Dodgers. The Dodgers are, I believe, 12-6 in the month of September. And like I said, the Brewers are 17-4. Yelich is gone, but Moustakas and Braun have really stepped up to pick up his slack offensively. I think they just are going to have a really, really good playoff season. And Bellinger has only hit 5 home runs since August 18th, which, if I'm the Dodgers and I've relied on him so heavily offensively all season and he's been so clutch the entire year, that's a little worrisome for me heading into the playoffs, that one of your top guys and one of the NL MVP candidates can't generate offense as much as he has been earlier in the season, especially at such a crucial time. So that's all we have for this. We got the Astros and the Brewers. Only October will tell who's right. And we're going to throw it over to break.
Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you have a topic you want us to debate, be sure to put it up on sided.co and tweet at us at TakeASideKU. For Caroline McRae, Max McElroy, Riley Ward, Marina Saver, Emma House, and Sam Ryder, I'm Jacob Polachek. We'll see you next week.